All right, welcome back in. McElroy and Cubelic in the morning. We mentioned a wild night in SEC hoops. First game between ranked teams to go to multiple overtimes last night as number 25 Alabama gets past number 20 Arkansas 117-115 in two overtimes. Also, just a wild one with Missouri 81, Vandy 80 takes a back seat to these two games that we've been talking about last night. Mississippi State over Auburn 91-85. Josh Hubbard 46 points, second most in a game in program history, behind my Bart Heiss guess was incorrect.
Ooh, okay, that's what I was thinking.
Bailey Howell in 1958. He put up 47 points against
Tennessee.
Union. You'll never get that. I didn't even know you could say Union and that actually be right for one of those answers that way. Snaps a 5-game home losing streak for Mississippi State. With Darius Acuff Jr. scoring 49 points Wednesday, yesterday was the first day to feature multiple SEC players scoring 40 or more points in a game since 1990.
Ooh. Oh, yeah.
1990 was a hell of a year for college basketball,
Wow.
I guess. When LSU's Chris Jackson, a.k.a. Mahmoud Abdul-Rauf, put up 49, and Tennessee's Allen Houston put up 43. Here's the crazy part, John. They did it in the same game.
Okay, yeah, that'll do it.
When people start asking about your time warp to certain years for different sports, maybe the 1990 regular season in college basketball is one we should consider. Because things felt like they were off the rails in a good way.
That was UNLV over Duke, wasn't it?
I believe so.
Oof. If we get a repeat of that, something like that this year, okay, yeah, I'll take it.
Yeah. The 89-90 college basketball season saw UNLV win a national championship. That was also Loyola Marymount's run in the NCAA tournament after they lost Hank Gathers, and his teammate would shoot his free throws left-handed to honor him in the NCAA tournament.
Arkansas made a Final Four run.
So yeah, you had some pretty crazy stuff going on. Lionel Simmons became the first NCAA player to score more than 3,000 points and 1,100 rebounds in a season. So pretty fun year. I wish we could go back and watch it. I haven't seen the tape on a lot of 1990 college basketball since, but hey, here we go. Looks like it was a good one. All right, so college hoop last night. College football has been in the news as well, and a couple of things that we have not been able to talk about or reference in recent memory have been a move by Sacramento State, Pac-12 flex scheduling, the new Heisman odds, and there's one individual out there that thinks certain schools should leave their conference. But we have not discussed this move by Sacramento State and some of the oddities that come with it. Now, I think the main reason that you look at this and say, why or what are you doing, is what we have seen from Rutgers, UCLA, Penn State, Florida State, these massive deficits that we've seen from collegiate athletic programs in recent memory. When I say recent memory, I mean like the last 2 weeks. Yet Sacramento State's deciding they're going to D1. I have not seen a team fast forward themselves to Division I like this since Georgia State did it. And Georgia State, I would say based on where they are right now, it's pretty impressive based on how quickly they did this.
Feels like it's worked, yeah.
I mean, it probably should have gone a lot worse than it has. But what they are sacrificing to make this move is unthinkable, to be honest with you, based on where we are in today's college athletic landscape, meaning revenue sharing, NIL, gathering funds, fundraising. You would not imagine that someone would give up the opportunity to make as much money as Sacramento State is doing by making this move. It is astronomical to think about. Not only are they foregoing the conference revenue split, they have agreed to pay for the travel of their opponents.
What?
Sacramento State to the MAC for MACtion the entrance fee paid by game guarantees and other football revenue. Football is going to pay for football. No student fees. There's no general fund. Now, the positive side of this is an estimated economic impact of $975 million, and you will be broadcasted nationally on multiple games. We know Action during the week actually does pretty well.
Absolutely.
Mhm.
Yeah.
So there's value with that. So ESPN, CBS Sports, you will get those. You'll be in the NCAA EA Sports video game, if that floats your boat. But to say that you are going to sacrifice pulling in conference revenue, that feels big. To say you're going to pay for teams to fly and you're going to charter flights and pay for their 100-something hotel rooms that they're going to need and the food that they're going to need to travel, the buses to get back and forth from the airport and the hotel. Oh, boy. 5-year agreement, which the school takes zero conference distribution. If you're the MAC, why do you not do this?
Right.
Come on down, as Rod Roddy would say.
God,
They cover air travel costs of visiting MAC teams and pay $6 million of the $18 million entry fee in year one.
Whew.
Now think about it. Normally could be spread across 5 years. They're going to pay it all now. I mean, according to Chad McElroy, who is a professor at Sacramento State, he says the financials behind Sacramento State move are disastrous. Last year, the university and student fees subsidized more than $37 million of the $43 million athletic budget. Their athletic ticket sales and corporate sponsorships were less than $1 million.
Wow.
So let me get this straight. Through ticket sales and corporate sponsorships, you generated less than $1 million. You are going to pay 6 of the 18 due year one over 5 years. You are not taking a dime in conference revenue sharing. And when Northern Illinois decides to hop on a plane and come see you, you're paying for that?
That's what they said.
I need to know who's doing this. What boosters are behind this? Who are their money people? Like, what is... I mean, this has been an obsession now for a couple of years. We've seen the moves with the hiring coaches. We've seen them talking about it. This is the ultimate in desperation of wanting to be relevant.
Right.
And you may ultimately pay a massive price fiscally for this because this doesn't feel like it's going to work, plain and simple.
No. You're not going to be able to survive.
Now, the flip side of this is if you do have the backing like that, if you have the money to go do this, then you may have the money to go get some pretty good players.
Mm-hmm.
Now, you're probably bringing in essential assassins who are just looking for a check.
Yeah.
Hopefully they play like that. And I didn't even actually mean the way they play. I meant more just looking for a check to go do something and then get out of there. Don't know how invested they're going to be to the overall good of the organization.
Right.
We bring you in, you catch a pass, you leave. Big check for it, thanks. If they can buy players versus what the rest of the MAC is able to get, maybe that helps them and they can move in and be relevant year one, year two. What is relevant for Sacramento State, though? Maybe the people that are behind this sitting there saying, the fact that y'all are talking about us in Birmingham, Alabama right now is starting to head down the path of what we're even talking about.
They're
and
trending
referencing.
up. They're trending up.
Well, I don't know. Did they get a transfer quarterback?
Maybe.
They can afford one.
Right.
Or can they?
I guess that's
Back to my point yesterday of we don't know anything about these teams because they may have spent all their money to get into this league and actually play Division I football.
Yeah.
At least a good thing about the MAC right now, with the exception of Sacramento State for the most part, everyone's kind of in the same part, so the flight shouldn't be that bad. It's not like the ACC, which covers multiple coasts, or the Mountain
Right.
West, which has all 4 time zones, or something like that, to where it's like, all right,
Also has massive media rights deals in
Yes.
place.
Sure,
Yeah.
true.
they just signed one for
Like, I don't care if they're paying for Southwest from Birmingham to New Orleans, which is not a thing anymore.
no.
But still, you're also paying for, like I said, the buses, the hotels.
Correct,
I mean,
right.
that's
Meals, all that stuff. Right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
that starts to grow. That gets big quick, especially when you haven't been doing it
Right.
and you're subtracting the less than $1 million that you made from student revenue, whatever it was, anyway, because you're upside down in so many other places, and all of a sudden you're just, oh, we'll cover that too. There has to be 2-3 big money people behind this saying, let's get there now, whatever it takes, we'll do it. But I want to know where, I don't want to say the end goal because it doesn't technically end, but what is the hurdle in sight of when these people may be able to back off a little bit and say, okay, we're somewhat self-sustaining in Division I college football? Because that feels like it's a long ways away.
Maybe they're going the SMU route. Maybe I don't know if they're balling like they are. They're breaded like SMU and that Fort Worth area is. But SMU was like, no, we don't need conference. We don't need. Hey, you know what? Here's an exit fee. Hey, you know what? Don't pay us for 5 years. Like, it feels like they're doing a lot of the same things. So either they've got a bunch of wealthy alumni that we just don't know, or they've got a couple Mark Cubans that are like, yeah, we got this for a couple of years. No worries.
They got Butterscotch, finalist from America's Got Talent Season 2, graduate.
Okay.
Butterscotch was what, a horse?
That's just a name that's on Wikipedia here.
Okay.
Carlos
Santana.
Alazraqui, comedian and actor in Reno 911.
Oh, okay, yeah. But still, I don't think he's breaded because he still does Reno stuff and conventions.
The guy who directed Black Panther, Ryan Coogler, is a graduate.
Well,
all right.
Well, that's one.
Right. You know he's breaded. Okay.
Yeah, he's breaded.
Jeffrey Boehm, screenwriter, producer. Creed Bratton from The Office.
Okay.
It's the bald guy that wore the glasses, like miserable all the time.
Right, yeah. He's actually a musician,
I think I may have found our answer. Tom Hanks.
Oh, yeah.
Didn't know he's a college football guy.
Yeah. I mean, he's wealthy.
Christine Hansen, television broadcaster, Playmate of the Month. Don't know the month or year.
Oh, okay. Could be any time.
I feel like that check probably came and went.
Right. Okay.
I mean, Caden Cross.
Who?
Caden Cross, graduate.
Oh, KC. Or is it CC?
That'd be double K.
Okay.
Kind of like Kieran Kilgraff, co-host of the podcast My Favorite Murder.
What?
Former head writer of the Ellen DeGeneres Show and the Rosie Show. Both.
Okay, so it might get
resumes
some residuals.
She has a type. All right.
Rick Rosevich from The Terminator, Top Gun, and Roxanne.
Let's go. Oh, they got it then.
You would know him if you saw him, kind of the older guy.
I figured, yeah.
So the money is okay.
No, that's not what we're looking for. I'm looking for CEOs. I'm looking for owners of. I'm looking for hedge fund managers, and I'm not seeing those yet.
What if there's a lottery winner or two? I don't think they'll be on there.
True. It's Sacramento.
You win the lottery, and half of it's going to taxes, and you're going to back an entire program going to Division I.
I mean,
if you love your school that much,
it'd be a nice flex.
One dude had too much Bama in him.
Now,
maybe he's got too much. This person has too much Hornets in him.
Dale Carlson, the Sleep Train Mattress Center founder, is a graduate.
Yeah.
I don't know how that thing's doing.
I know they're hard to
I
stop.
go to Royal Mattress in Pelham, so I don't utilize his services.
Well,
I don't. Now, Angelo Stokopoulos, a real estate mogul.
They can be breaded.
Can.
And it's in Sacramento too. So
Might be.
Yeah.
Yeah. What is
Real
that?
estate's out there high.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. The money's.
Well, they got Jason Williams. What?
I'm just saying, money's good.
Dylan Cardwell. What are you talking
Chris
about?
Webber had to buy a house at one point.
Right.
Yeah. I mean, what?
Doug Christie.
What does that mean? Mike
Vlade
Bibby?
Divac.
Mike Bibby?
Hito Turkoglu had to live somewhere.
Yeah.
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 Who's the guy? Scott Follett.
I think we're done with the Sacramento Kings.
Yeah,
That's it. I think we named them all.
Yep.
Those were we named everyone that ever scored a point in the history of the franchise.
Maybe De'Aaron Fox still has some nice ties in Sacramento.
Okay. Reese Hoskins, I think he's still hitting home runs.
Is he?
Somebody?
Yeah, I think so.
A couple.
Yeah.
Really nice guy though. Met him at College Game Day one time, Army Navy game.
Okay.
Mike Bibby is actually a graduate
of Sacramento State. Let's go. They're fine then.
That's why they traded for him. Bring him back home.
They got it.
He's also currently their head coach in basketball.
Didn't know that.
Did not know that either until right this second.
Oh, so money's good. Okay. I see where they're going. It's like, hey man, well, basketball team does well. Can you help out the football team a little bit? This is what we got.
Help us out. Also listed as an alumni. Help me here. DeAndre Carter. Now, if you pay attention to recruiting, you remember a time when he was transferring to Alabama and was
Right.
about to change the game.
Uh-huh.
Like it was about to
Why does
be
that sound so familiar?
untouchable. It's Chris Carter's son.
Well, Chris is good.
Well, he was a good recruit.
Yeah.
Never quite got to that level. But the question remains how, why, to an extent. More the how than the why, I think, of just this taking place the way that it's taken place. But we'll continue the conversation, talk more college football next right here on Jocks.
$8:19 here on McElroy and Cubelic in the morning. Cole had to step out for a second. Damian Mitchell and John Saber holding it down for him in the interim. And kind of going back to the Sacramento State discussion as they're making the transition to FBS and they're going to the MAC. One, the fact that they're going to be covering all of these things and actually going down the notable alumni list was actually pretty entertaining. But one, when you see all of the things that are happening out in, the Mountain West Conference, the Pac-12, I guess we have to stop thinking about conferences expansion as far as just how regional it used to be. Now it's kind of the national landscape. And I'm thinking, okay, well, if you're making the jump to FBS and you're playing in the MAC, I'm looking at the quality of competition. Like we've seen Akron be one of the worst programs in college football. Toledo, Northern Illinois has had some good moments, but
Just lost their coach.
yeah, just lost their coach. So I'm looking at Sacramento State as okay. Well, now if you make this jump and you start, say in year one, you're 9-3. You're like, okay, well, we jumped in the right spot. Like, but I think as far as just, it's so interesting now when you see the Big Ten, the new look Big Ten with UCLA and Washington, USC, and those schools in Oregon making the jump, and then the ACC getting Stanford and Cal. Really and truly, the SEC. I mean, you can, if you want to consider Missouri, there, because Missouri is the furthest west. Well, I guess the Texas schools now.
Texas now. Right,
Texas now. Yeah. But for a period of time when we had the initial expansion with Texas A&M and Missouri, and we still had East and West divisions, it made a lot of sense. Now that we have no divisions, it's kind of the SEC still has its focal, I guess you say, footprint. But as far as any more expansion talks, it's going to be at the lower levels, because you see the Jacksonville States of the world get in the Conference USA, right, Kennesaw State. Like, I don't think any of the major conferences, at least in the 5 to 10 year window, I don't expect them to expand anymore.
I say that probably not, but there are some appealing programs out there.
Yeah.
May not literally necessarily right now, but I do think Florida State, Clemson, North Carolina, Virginia, those are appealing. And I'm not saying, yes, the SEC has to have them.
Right.
But if, say, randomly, because all of a sudden out of nowhere a few years ago, Maryland just absconded to the Big Ten. I was like, what? Why? How? Like, you're just, okay, fine, cool. So if just one random team, like, say, NC State were to just leave and join, I don't know, the Pac-12, whatever, just something, and then expansion were to open up, okay, I could see the SEC starting to look like, well, if others are starting to do it, okay, we'll do it too, but we're not going to be the poachers, which
right.
Most of when they started the alliance, the Big Ten and the Big 12 and the Pac-12, even though they ended up eating each other, but that was formed in response to, oh, the SEC is expanding, and how could they? Well, last I checked, like Big 12 or Texas and Oklahoma, like they came to us.
Mm-hmm.
Like your girl was hitting on me. Like, oh, well, I'm saying, well, what am I supposed to do? She came to me and said, hey, can we do this? And I was like, yeah, actually, we can.
Right.
It wasn't like, hey, you know what? I'm going to go in. I'm going to take something from you. That's not what happened. Texas and Oklahoma reached out and was like, hey, we see the writing on the wall. We want a spot that we can land at. Can we do this? That ended up happening. Then at that point, everyone had to react and go and grab. And it felt like right now, for the most part, conferences are probably kind of set. But I wouldn't be surprised if, it felt like it was getting close, a year or two ago when the ACC had to kind of renegotiate to give, I would say, Florida State and Clemson, but they hadn't really lived up to the billing, but they renegotiate TV contracts or payouts to where, hey, if you're on TV more, or if you end up doing better, we'll end up giving you more. So I don't see that happening anytime soon. So it just feels like it's just now, finally, after all that realignment from the few years ago, it's just filtering its way down to the FCS level, to that lower level, to where, okay, once the SEC and then the Big Ten were set, well, then the ACC had to figure out what they wanted to do. The Big 12 grabbed a couple. Pac-12 tried to survive. They couldn't.
Right.
But then they finally started just kind of raiding the MAC, or the Midwestern Conference, and then they started pulling in a couple and pulling up from Division II. The American got raided by the Big 12, so then the American raided Conference USA. So it just feels like now it's just finally filtering down to the FCS level, and you see that, what was it, North Dakota State, South Dakota State?
North Dakota State.
Like they're making the leap. Sacramento State, who last year was 7-5, and the two teams that faced in the championship game were in the Big Sky with them, so they were looking up at them. So they weren't ranked last year, but they had 3 top 10 teams just in their conference. So this could be a team, like I said, like if they were to just jump in to the Mountain West, not to say that they're actually going to just come in and run roughshod, which, by the way, they won't be able to compete in the postseason,
right?
Because they're transitioning from FCS to FBS, which, okay, I feel like we don't need to be doing this anymore, but whatever, it's still the rule. But also I feel like everything else is going to court. to the NCAA, so if they really want to, they can go after that. But we've seen teams that made that leap be fairly competitive.
Yeah.
When SMU came to the ACC, like, oh, they're not going to really do much. And then,
they had the college football playoff.
Yeah, they didn't win the conference, but at least made the conference championship game their first year, and boom, jumped right in. You saw Jack State jump up a couple years ago and make it to their conference championship game, win it once, if not twice in a row, and then made it to the conference championship game last year, lost to Kennesaw State, who just made that jump as well. Liberty, who had been in FCS for a while, is now in the Conference USA. So it feels like even though FCS used to be just a substantially lower league of football, you see them kind of jump up and actually holding their own.
Yeah. Because I remember about a week or so ago, a couple weeks ago, when Greg and Cole were talking about it, and Greg kind of made the point that, man, you look at what the group of 5, 6, whatever you want to call it, how that gap has shrunk from the FCS level to now when you look at Power 5 and really SEC and Big Ten, the gap is just so big from what it used to be in the G5, because really and truly, and we had these conversations when covering Sanford games and kind of talking to Coach Hasher when he was the head coach at Sanford and some of the opponents' head coaches. We can't even. It's almost like year in and year out, you're rinsing and repeating the same thing as far as recruiting things, and they can't compete with NIL. Like, if you have a great year at the FCS level, more than likely those guys are going to make the jump to FBS, whether it's a group of 5, 6 or whatever, or to the Power 5 to be a backup or to be a depth piece because of NIL. It's because of the money. Like, it's because, and again, I'm not knocking any of these guys, but one, it's, man, you're no longer competing. I understand competing at the highest level, but also I want to play. Like, I want to be out there on the field making plays. And I can't remember. It might have been UT Chattanooga's head coach, or it might have been Tennessee Tech, one or the other. But I remember them saying that, we basically year to year just saying, if any of these guys explode, we're not expecting them to be here the following year. It's just kind of it's a given, because an FBS school is going to come down and say, hey, we got X amount in the bank. Whether you're going to be a 2, you could be a dead piece. Who knows? You may mess around and start. But just having the opportunity to jump, they're gone. And there's nothing they can do to really hold them back except that, man, you were all conference last year. Why not do it again? Like, it's kind of the only playing card that you have, because they're looked at as almost an extension of junior college at this point, because it's, okay, yeah, we can get these guys, develop them as freshmen, sophomore, and they blow up, their sophomore to junior year, they're gone. And there's nothing we can do about it. So I look at the Sacramento State jump of, man, if you're covering all of that for the first 5 years, man, you're going to have to get a return on investment rather quickly. And how are you going to maintain a roster moving forward where, I mean, hey, sorry we can't sign you to, the extension that sorry we can't match the money that we had last year because we're paying conference dues now. Like, now we got to make sure Buffalo can get a plane to Sacramento on Wednesday instead of Thursday. Like, we got to cover all that stuff. And I don't know if there's a lot of programs really at the FCS level. And again, I don't know the numbers, but I don't think that's a great model to follow moving forward. If you're say a Sanford, has an invitation to go to the Sun Belt or the Conference USA, I don't know how Mark Newton runs it, but I'm pretty sure he's going to say, hey, we can't cover everything as far as what Sacramento State has done. So I just think, like, the precedent is going to be difficult for a lot of programs, but you're going to see these things because in the hopes of, hey, we're going to get, when that 5-year mark hits, we're going to start getting the conference money. So are you are you willing to go in debt this massive for a 5-year stretch and hoping that you're going to, be back up in 15?
And if I recall, I think Sacramento State football is only joining the MAC. I don't think everything else is. And while, it's going to be expensive for them to cover all those costs, it's not all of their sports.
True.
So I don't think they would have made that deal for all their sports, but having to then pay for the women's gymnastics team to go from Sacramento over to UMass, which, by the way, UMass is now in the MAC
Sure
too.
is.
So everyone's about to get an extra win. So they can be thankful for that. But having to go in consecutive weeks for baseball games at Western Michigan and then at Bowling Green, like that's going to end up costing a lot. And so, yeah, you see teams like Rutgers have the massive deficit. I think South Carolina had it. Like, there are a bunch of teams that are in the Big Two that are somehow still running with deficits. And so that just leads me to believe, like Cole mentioned earlier, that somehow Sacramento State, either they've got money one way or another.
Right.
Either they've got some angel investors that are going to be like Mark Cuban, like, hey, whatever it takes, we've got you for however long. Not unlike SMU said they would do, like, hey, we don't need any of that. Or hopefully this isn't the case. Sacramento State was like, we don't care. Whatever it takes to get us into FBS, you don't have to pay whatever. We'll find a way to figure it out. So that way, at some point, we know this will turn a profit, because if we're in the MAC, if we're in at least that conference, we have a shot at making the money, as opposed to languishing in FCS and hoping to survive. And I hope that either they have the money to sustain themselves, either from an investor or from alumni or whatever, or they end up being good and maybe making, I don't know if they make playoff runs, but making big bowl games or something to where eyeballs get on them. Because if they made this deal on the hope that we'll be profitable at some point, I don't think it's going to go that way. Do you think, big dog?
Yeah, I'm with you, man. 205-834-9450. Just hypothetically speaking, if the SEC were to expand and you can only add 2 teams, you can only add 2. We're gonna go to 2. Just add 2 more. Who would you like those teams to be? Just kind of get a lay of the land. It can be whoever you want. We're not just gonna put you in the South, but in the event that the SEC could expand to add 2 more teams to the conference, who would they be? 205-834-9450. We'll give you our answers, get some of yours as well on the other side. Keep it locked on McElroy and Cubelic in the morning. 8:35 here on McElroy and Cubelic in the morning. Damien and John sitting in for the guys for a minute. Cole shall return later on in the show. GMAC out today. But we had some just discussing the big move for Sacramento State as they are going from the FCS to the FBS. Not only just the FBS, they're going to the MAC and all the expenses that they are eating in doing this. I mean, it's a quick turnaround. Like they jumping right into it in 2026 with football only, and just looking at some of the costs that's going to be for them. So I opened up the floor to our listeners, 205-834-9450. Your text, your calls. Welcome here on Mac and Cube. Of if the SEC could add 2 teams, who would you like them to be? And when we look at conference expansion, again, it's national now. It is. We've got Stanford and Cal in the old ACC.
Right. The 2 Pacific schools are on
Yeah.
the Atlantic Coast Conference, right?
Absolutely. Yeah. And we've got, the Pacific Northwest with Oregon, Washington, USC, UCLA. They're in the Big Ten. So it just goes to show you the old Northwestern and UCLA game. That's a Big Ten classic. That's where we are. But we getting some interesting feedback. This is just disrespectful. But somebody texted in and said, add UAB and Oklahoma State to the SEC. Easy games. We trying to get money, dog.
Okay.
We trying to get this money and actually have a competitive conference, man. Listen, Oklahoma straight up said, we don't want Bedlam no more.
Right.
We are done. Oklahoma State was just sitting there like, well, what are we supposed to do? Like, what are we doing out here in the Big 12 by ourselves?
What they should have done. I mean, they're in the Big 12, and I guess they're fine. But you got to feel for Washington State and Oregon State,
right?
Because they were in here lockstep. Like, you're our rival, I'm your rival. We're gonna do this together. Yeah, absolutely. Then all of a sudden, Washington and Oregon got called up to the cool kids table, and they just sitting out there at the Pac-12 like Will Smith at the end of Fresh Prince.
Right.
Like, what? Like not even what? Yeah, it's left behind.
Oh, 100%. And to me, the first 2 teams that popped in my head were Georgia Tech and Florida State. I know you already have Georgia, you already got Florida, but I think as far as competitiveness goes, and they're all just right here. Like they're right here. And to me, it just makes perfect sense. And I think Georgia Tech, especially the past 5-10 years, I mean, they're outside of just playing Georgia, like they're not afraid to schedule SEC schools anyway. They're like, come on, like we'll play you. Like it is what it is. And I would love to see Brent Key in the SEC. I think Brent Key, I think he's a phenomenal coach, and what he's building out there in Georgia Tech. I think that the way that they play just fits the SEC style. Like it's the old school, even in the modern day flavor to it. It's physical. It's, we'll ground and pound this thing. Like, think about Haynes King was at Texas A&M, and he became a Georgia Tech legend. Like, it went from, I don't know why this guy is playing college football at the FBS level to, you know what, change of scenery is good for all.
Right, yeah.
And Florida State, I mean, we're trying to help.
Right.
We're trying to help your pockets. Like,
understand fully makes sense.
Yeah, and you're right here.
I get where you're coming from. You know me, my love for Georgia Tech. I would not want them in this league. One, because I know they wouldn't win anymore. And I get where you're coming from in that, they're competitive.
They're trending up.
They've been not bad recently. You know the last time they had 9 wins before this past season?
When they played Mississippi State in one of those bowl games.
Maybe 2016.
Yeah.
So it's been a decade since they've had 9 wins.
I didn't realize it was that long.
Do you know the last time they went to 3 bowl games in a row like they have?
I'm going to say it was a stretch from 04 to 07.
The last time, now granted, this one it was, I think it was 9 straight. But actually, no, it ended up being a little bit more than that. But even so, the last time they went to consecutive bowl games was 2014.
Oh, boy.
So, yes, they've been good over the last little bit. They've been fairly good over the last little bit. It's not like they've been world beaters like, all right, yeah, we need to bring them in. It's not like
they just been middle of the pack.
Correct, right. And then middle of the pack in the ACC. The 2 teams I would bring in will be, well, I've got 2 options. Are we just colonizing and just snatching 2? Because I've got 2 trades I would propose.
Oh, hit me with the trades then. Hit me with the trades.
I would trade, and I know it feels like it. It feels like, they're getting fleeced, but I'm like, I think this works out better for us. I would trade For Florida State, I would trade South Carolina.
Whoo! Shane Beamer, man.
Right.
Put him back in his dad's old stomping grounds in the
Okay,
ACC.
right. Yeah. And let him compete a good bit more. Natural rivalry with Clemson.
True.
It would stink to lose Dawn Staley and women's basketball. It would stink to lose that. And it pains me to have to do that. But I know what Florida State, and if they can get good and that revenue, like you just said, we're trying to make some money.
We're trying to make some money.
So having Florida State in the conference. So
True.
again, if we were just colonizing, that's probably the team I would go after would be Florida State. But but also I'm maybe looking to trim a little fat here. I'm like, all right, like South Carolina, you've been good, but I'm willing to.
Right.
Again, you ain't an OG. Like you just came in just in '92. Like you ain't been here all that long. The other trade I would make, I would trade Missouri to the Big 12 for Houston.
Ooh,
Houston's the other team
big bank
that I feel like, the other school that I think has SEC sensibilities. Basketball, especially men's basketball, has been doing extremely well as of late. The two money-generating schools have been, as of late, looking like okay, like they've been rolling, and I think it would give another Texas school and another footprint in that state. Texas may not like it, but hey, sorry, you're one of 16 now. So I think bringing Houston in, because my first thought was maybe a team like North Carolina or even OK State to bring some. And while OK State's got that money, are they bringing the eyeballs? Are they bringing, do we want to put the SEC patch on Oklahoma State? And I'm like, I don't. They feel like a Big 12 team, what the Big 12 is right now.
Yeah.
And so I was like, you know what? I think you're good right there, which honestly, I feel like Missouri's kind of right there too. So
yeah,
I feel like that would be a good trade. And FSU is not necessarily the only one I would want from the ACC, but I think I would want Houston from the Big 12 more than I would want almost any other ACC school, with the exception of Florida State.
Yeah, and I actually like the idea of a trade. And again, no disrespect to Missouri. Even when they made the jump to the SEC,
it felt weird.
It felt weird.
Odd,
just
right.
like, we got them?
Right, yeah.
Like A&M, understand, money's deep down
Money's
there.
good, and it feels like it was an SEC-like program.
Right.
Absolutely. Missouri never felt that way, and which is funny because you're wearing a Missouri shirt today. And
That is true.
I just think that if at any point in time, if the Big Ten were to come calling Missouri, they would run up there. Because I feel like they fit in more up there than they do here. They're happy to be here. They're not gonna willingly leave anywhere else. But if Mama calls, I feel like they feel like we'd prefer the Big Ten. I mean, it's right there by Indiana and Illinois. Like it's right there. The natural rivalry kind of makes sense. So I mean, like, you know what? Before you leave us, we're gonna get rid of you.
Yeah, and I don't think you put them in a bad situation in the Big 12. Like I think they could win the Big 12.
Absolutely,
year
right.
one.
Yeah.
And I think Houston, because of just the size, the city, everything that comes with it, like if Houston is rocking,
correct.
It helps everybody.
Yes.
Like the money's going to be good. 205-834-9450. Darren from Tennessee, he texted in. He says Louisville and Clemson. Louisville, I get it, but we ain't trying to service Kentucky for real. Like, no disrespect. Now basketball, understand.
Correct, right.
But,
honestly, as blue blood as that is, if I could find a way to, I might holler at the Big Ten like, hey, what would you take for Kentucky? Because I feel like they might want that. Like I know I'd hate to unload Kentucky on the ACC.
Right.
But I know like I could, because I feel like, hey, we'll give you Kentucky, you give us Florida State. I feel like I'm fleecing them, but I think they gladly take it.
Like,
but
we'll take Florida State football, and then you got Kentucky basketball.
That could be it. I'll give you South Carolina and Kentucky. You give me Florida State. Like, we'll be good. But I also feel like, all right, Kentucky, like, how much are you really helping us? And again, you're right there by the board, and I hate to just give you to the Big Ten.
But you feel like the North.
Correct, right.
Like you feel North.
Yes.
Somebody else texts in and says, my personal preference for the SEC would be North Carolina and Virginia Tech. My thing on North Carolina, it's very similar to like kind of Kentucky basketball. Like I can understand having North Carolina for basketball purposes, but on the football side of things, even before Bill Belichick got there, you're adding another footprint, but I don't think North Carolina would compete at all, especially in the football side of things. At least not consistently. But again, we
Feels
welcome
like to them,
Vanderbilt in
like
for a while.
that's the same thing adding Georgia Tech. Like, it'd be a good name.
Yeah.
Like, how much would and looking at the football program right now, okay, yeah, probably not. But you get the right coach in there, they could be about what South Carolina is, 8, probably 9-win season, maybe mess around and get 10, maybe make a playoff every so often, but not expected to really be no worse than a 7-win, but no better than a 9-win.
Yeah.
Part of the reason I chose those schools is because I know Florida State does. I feel like Houston would, especially if they got here. Like, you have to put so much effort and money and resources and everything into football because that's the difference in the Big Ten and some of the other conferences, in that while the Big Ten, yeah, most of their teams, will get a lot of talent. Your mid to lower level teams doesn't have NFL talent.
Yeah.
As bad as South Carolina was that last year and probably not looking great this year, they probably have 2 top 10 picks with
with Lenore Sellers
and
Dylan Stewart.
Yes, you're going to have to face some NFL talent even on a lesser program, and I don't know if North Carolina's willing to do that. Virginia Tech atmosphere, I know we don't use fit anymore, but that feels like that. Like that could, but again, are they willing to put in the money, resources, everything to make sure you're competing in that, or are we bringing in another Missouri?
Yeah.
So that's why I was like, I thought about North Carolina and Virginia Tech. I don't think they'd be willing to up their game.
Yeah. I'm with you. 205-834-9450. Continue with your text message, your calls here on McElroy and Cubelic in the morning. SEC expansion. If you could add 2 teams, who would they be? Let us know on the other side. Keep it locked on Mac and Q.